Alright, it is time for the third MCU TV series review, Loki. Previously I did 2 of the Marvel shows for the past few months, and I have talked about them. So now, let's move on to Loki. Before the show came out in June, I was kind of excited. When I heard that there's a show for Loki, I went, that sounds like a good idea. I mean, I wasn't so hyped, but after watching the episodes, I was like, oh yeah, this beats the Falcon and the Winter Soldier show. Okay, let's look at the story before I do the review. Tom Hiddleston reprises his role as Loki. The show took place during the events of Avengers Endgame after stealing the Tesseract. The alternate version of Loki is brought to the organization called Time Variance Authority. The place exists outside of time and space and monitors the timeline. Loki gives a chance by being erased from existence due to being a time variant, or help fix the timeline and stop a greater threat. Loki ends up trapped in his own crime thriller, traveling through time. So the show is a time-traveling plot, which I'm fine with that. I know Avengers Endgame had their own time-traveling plot, and that one was fine too. Bottom line, the show was more on themes and ideas, which it was a pretty good highlight of the show. When I was writing the transcript and looking up the show, I realized the creator of the Loki show also wrote Rick and Morty, so it's not really shocked that he did those. Probably my favorite part in this show are the visuals, which is gorgeous to look at. Marvel knows how to make visuals, which I know I haven't talked about the cinematic universe movies, but they have pretty good visuals. Plus, the setting in the show is great. Some critics are saying the musical score is pretty good, but I haven't heard the music score in the show, but I will listen to it soon. The characters are great as well. Tom Hiddleston will always be great playing as Loki. Ever since the first Thor movie, he was kinda awkward at first, but later on in future Marvel movies, he is a pretty good villain, even though he can't top Thanos. Yeah, even before Thanos in Infinity War and Endgame, Loki was the best out of the 10 plus Marvel villains in the movies before Thanos. Still, it was a great idea to make a show for him. And like I said, I wasn't hyped when it got announced before. I thought they would get rid of Loki in the movies, but I was wrong. The opening was a great way because canons are important in the series. So yeah, Loki is still great in the show, with great personality, though he can be evil at times. Now let's move on to the other characters. Sylvie is a great new addition to the show. Though she does not consider herself as a Loki, she's a good character with a great backstory and a great brawler. She and Loki are a great team. Then there's Ravonna in the TVA, where she was a former hunter, then became a respected judge. Which, yeah, a new addition character, nothing too special about her. Same with Hunter B-15, though she is more intense than Ravonna, but again, nothing too special about her as well. Now to Mobius. Owen Wilson plays him, which I have to admit, he did a pretty good job in the show. There's some movies I watched with him, but his role seems like a better role than what he's done because Owen has done comedy movies before, and this is a procedural drama show. So yeah, Mobius is another good addition to the show. Also, he's an agent, so good role there, Owen. Then there's other Loki variants, which, okay, there's Kid Loki, Boastful Loki, Classic Loki, and Alligator Loki. Okay, that's weird. But they were nice additions. Now let's get to another highlight in the show, which is from the last episode, episode 6. Besides the first episode, this is my favorite out of the Loki episodes. Without giving away too much, there's a choice in the episode, because the timeline begins to diverge, and what's next for Loki to do? So yeah, the ending was pretty good. Plus, the episode actually slows the pacing down and in favor of the thriller vibe when Loki and Sylvie talk to each other. Still, a nice change since the previous 2 shows didn't have that. Still, it's the excitement that has yet to come. But yeah, Loki was a great show. My expectations were middle ground during the announcement of the show, and did raise the roof a little after I finished the show. Also, there's going to be a second season, which I am now excited that this show to the other shows get renewed for a second season, which I was upset for both shows to get a second season. WandaVision could have easily gotten since the show has acclaimed, but the show didn't get a second season. Falcon and Winter Soldier, I can totally understand not getting a second season because of the upcoming 4th Captain America movie. So yeah, Loki gets a second season, and I can't wait to watch it when it comes to Disney Plus soon. Also, the show didn't have any cameos from the past movies, so at least that was a fresh new thing. But now, let's get to my ranking of the Marvel shows. Yeah, where does Loki rank at? For number 3 at the bottom has to be Falcon the Winter Soldier. It is a good show and definitely recommending, but it has problems and even the pacing was not great, so it deserves on the list. For number 2 is Loki. Yes, I could have put it at number 1 because it gets a second season and it was a pretty good show with great visuals, characters, and themes. So that leaves WandaVision at number 1. Man, if that show had a second season, I would have dropped it down and put Loki above WandaVision. But I still can't help it. WandaVision is more production heavy than the other two, and I still like the TV show reference in the show, but maybe next time for Loki. Now, this got announced less than a week ago. Hawkeye's show is coming to Disney Plus later this year, which I have to wait to do a full review of the show sometime early next year. So yeah, that is all for the review of Loki, and I will see you guys next week for a new video.